Everybody, welcome to Ask the Amigos. This is a show where we answer all of Discord's burning questions.
They're burning.
And Aaron, we're going to kick things off with Lord Soup. He asks, I know you like the fights, Aaron.
That's what you got.
In boxing, who is your GOAT? And he says, mine's marvelous Martin Hagler.
Marvin. It's Marvin Hagler.
What did I say?
Martin.
Oh, sorry.
It's not Martin Hagler. I hated Marvin Hagler. And I think now I respect him. But he used to beat the crap out of guys I like. Because I love Thomas Hitman Hearns. I also didn't like Sugar Ray Leonard. But I love those guys now because they were warriors. All those middleweights were great. Listen, this is generic Pat answer. But I grew up loving Muhammad Ali. I love him. And when he was romping and stomping, no one could touch him. And he took out all the big guys. A lot of the battles he had were when I was just a tiny little kid. But I remember growing up and seeing all his big fights. I saw him and Smoking Joe and Foreman and all those guys that he came up. And it killed me. It killed me when he would lose. I couldn't believe it. It was like you couldn't believe it had happened. Ultimately, when Larry Holmes took him out for good, man, that was a tough fight to watch.
Was that in the Rumble in the Jungle, or was that the Thrilla in Manila?
This is neither of those. This is
Was it the throwdown in Charleston?
It was It was the fight where they put. Well, he should have been put out the pasture long before this, but he was a money machine. And you were always a guy like that, just like Tyson. Like as long as he can still walk upright, he can make money. But poor. And I also hated Larry Holmes, too, because I hated everyone that wasn't Muhammad Ali in the heavyweight division. And I hated him for killing off my... But, in retrospect, if you go out and watch the fight, he's begging the ref to stop the fight. He's begging the ref because he knows he's destroying this guy. And Holmes was Ali was his idol, So I would say I love Muhammad Ali. He would be my number one favorite boxer of all time. What about you?
I'm not the connoisseur of the squared circle. Did they call it the squared circle in boxing, or is that just...
No, yeah. You can use that.
But I like Ali. I like anybody that's got some flair.
Yeah.
Who's the guy that you introduced me to that I really like? The drunken master guy. He's got.
I don't know why you keep asking me that.
He's kind of bobs and weaves all over the place all the time.
You don't know his name?
No.
I don't know.
Okay.
We'll look into that.
Well, I like him. I like the Gypsy King.
Yeah, he's tremendous.
Yeah, I like
what a warrior he is too.
Yeah.
Heavyweights have really made a big comeback, and it's neat to see someone from the UK back on the top of the heap.
I sort of like
Russians.
I'm sort of the opposite when it comes to when it comes to wrestling. I like the big oafs too. I guess in both wrestling and boxing, I like huge titans going to work on each other.
So you're a heavyweight guy.
Oh, yeah.
It's funny because MMA is totally different.
Yeah.
The further up in the heavyweight, you are not nearly as skilled.
Right.
Or they're not the money earners that guys like Conor McGregor are at a much lighter weight, or even the light heavyweights. It's funny how that worked.
I've heard that there's no weight classes in sumo, though.
Well, that may be... it's funny. There are now. I never really thought about it. But, I mean... It's sort of sad to see a big sumo. Every once in a while, a little sumo humiliates a big one. I remember one time, it was this guy, I saw this video where the sumos went to go at each other, and the one guy did a leapfrog. And the huge sumo just went under him and hit the dirt.
That's great.
But I'm sure backstage, he was beating around.
Right.
I've kind of gotten out of sumo. It's so crooked, and I didn't like... they got all kinds of problems. I don't know, maybe they've cleaned it up, but I gave up on sumo.
Yeah. I'd like to watch more boxing. It's funny, even though we've talked about this before, even though I don't like violence, there's something about boxing that I enjoy.
Yeah.
So, all right. Pixels at Dawn. No, sorry. Christian Russell asks, which decade of the latter half of the 20th century do you think saw the most change musically? So 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s. Which saw the most change between the beginning of that decade and the end of the decade?
Probably, in all honesty, it was probably... that's a tough, because there's always remnants that kind of linger, because think about it. When it's the 60s, you come in with more like your traditional, like big band orchestra back stuff, that sort of thing, and then as you move into the later part of the decade, you've gotten into somewhere like psychedelic stuff, but it's not like the other stuff didn't go away.
Right.
It's still there, so I wouldn't say that. and then you've got the 70s to the 80s. You could make a play because the 80s came in, or the 70s came in, it was like more easy listening type stuff, yacht rock, and then it morphed into, it went through several changes, and depending on what you look at the beginning of the 80s, or the late 70s, you've got punk, you've got disco, you've got a different sort of pop, plus there's heavy metal has sort of began to appear, so you could say, you could sort of go there.
Yeah.
80s to 90s, really not a huge change until the very end, when you get the Seattle stuff starts creeping in.
Right.
So, but otherwise, pretty stable, I'd say, that decade. So probably the 90s to 2000 is the rise of hip-hop as a big-time player. So I'm going to say the 90s to 2000, just on that reason.
That's an interesting angle, because I think you're right. The rise of hip-hop in sort of pop music, emerging from just an underground side, just kind of...
Right. It was always around, but it wasn't always. But that's when it pinpoint. Right. You look at the charts, you can tell.
I think you got a bookend, but I think the 60s, 1960 to 1969, society changed. I mean, music and society were in lockstep, during that time. And I think that maybe you could make the same claim about the 90s, when in fact, if you think about hip hop as being a mirror on society, at least in certain parts of the world. And so, yeah, good answer, man. I wasn't expecting you to go insightful, but sometimes you surprise me.
I have to voice it out.
Yeah.
And really, what you got to think, once hip hop came to prominence, it's never left.
Right.
It's the dominant music now, like rock was, or or Motown or whatever.
Absolutely. Yeah. Pixels asks, if you could have any animal at all as a pet without worries about cost or worries about being eaten, what would you have?
You've seen the movie Watchmen or read the comic?
I read the comic.
This guy's got a liger. I'm talking about the lion,
they're
tiger.
bred for their magic.
Those are super cool. Now that's a pretty good animal. I think do they really exist?
I think so.
So I would probably go with a liger. That'd be cool. What about you?
Is Manticore real?
No.
I kind of like small things. I think hedgehogs, in theory, are cool pets, but I've heard they're actually not very cool pets, but they're small and they're cute. Same thing with those sugar gliders. You ever see anybody?
Those are cute. Yeah, I saw them at the mall one time.
I've always been a big fan. In sci-fi, you see this a lot, or in anime. There's always the character, and they've got the little thing on the shoulder. The companion.
Yeah,
I like that idea.
Remember the Beast Smash? They had those ferrets. Those were cool. The two ferrets. I like that.
You could sick ferrets on people too.
The problem is those little animals. They'll get up on you. You won't pay attention. You smush them.
Yeah.
That's what I'd be like. Those sugar gliders. The guy's like, oh, it'll hold. You can get in your pocket. Well, what if you go what if I run into a door? I ran into my car door today with my face. You think the sugar glider's going to chance?
They're not going to survive. Chance. Yeah. Tell me about how you ran into the car door with your face.
I don't have a story behind it. I opened the car door. I went to step in. Something went wrong, and my face hit the side of the car. I just sat there thinking to myself, man, I'm sure stupid. There's nothing you can do. Thank God I was in front of a prison. There's even dumber people than me in there.
Paul Harrington asks, would you eat meat grown in a lab?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I probably already have.
Yeah. Let's not kid ourselves.
Hey, listen, lab it up, brother.
I can't wait until you can grow whatever kind of meat you want in a lab, and that makes the price of meat go down.
Yeah.
It's good for the environment. I'm all for that stuff.
In fact, I want to get a big, a double quarter pounder, and I want to look at some geek beside me and be like, hey, geek, I'm a vegetarian.
Right.
Chomp down. If they made vegetables that tasted like burgers,
listen,
I'm in.
That is the future that I've always longed for. If you could eat whatever you want guilt-free about what's in it, think about how life would be. It would be a treat.
I see a Soylent Green future for it.
Maybe so. Yeah. Maybe so. David Z asks, how far would you drive for a pizza?
Not far.
How far? What's the farthest you've ever driven for a pizza?
I don't think I've driven very far ever for a pizza.
Well, I have a story behind this, because for the very first time a couple weeks ago, I drove out to Lido. Not to Toledo.
Lido?
Not that Lido either. The Lido on Route 60 in St. Albans, just outside Jefferson. Yeah, think about it. You're driving down the street.
Yeah.
You're getting ready to, you've left Ordnance Park in St. Albans. It's on the right by the Tudors.
Well, everything about this sounds delicious. I've just left Ordnance Park. What a great place to hang out.
You haven't got stabbed in the face, so you call it a win. Yeah, think about, the Tudors is on the right side.
I don't know where it's at. I mean, I know where you're talking about.
Do you never go down 60?
Not the Nitro, I don't.
Well, I mean, you have to cross the bridge to go to Nitro. I'm talking about on the St. Albans side.
I never go there.
Okay.
No.
You never drive through Jefferson.
Are you nuts?
I drive through there almost every day.
No. Where are you heading out there?
Well, that's a lie. I don't.
The Triple X store?
No,
the strip
I mean,
club?
I drive through Jefferson. I don't make any stops.
No, you can't stop.
No.
You won't stop.
But anyway, I forgot about the question.
Yeah.
So that's about 20, 25 minutes to get there. I drove there because everybody raves about this place. Lito's Pizza. It was one of the first pizza places in St. Albans.
Yeah. How was it?
They only take cash. They're one of those places.
Okay.
And the pizza was all right.
See, that's so. What did we learn?
We learned that you can't go wrong by going with the chain because it's a known quantity.
I mean, I'll tell you, I love Daveronis. We were there, and I've never had pizza that was as consistently as good as ours. But I mean, even bad pizza, the saying. I'm not gonna get into it, but yeah.
Mitsuyama asks, I saw this question on Twitter. If you could only ever eat foods starting with the same letter for the rest of your life, which letter would you choose?
Gosh, what a goofy question. You ever thought?
Yep. P.
For pizza?
Pizza, pepperoni, pineapple, pig in a blanket.
Spaghetti. A P.
Spaghetti.
Pasta. I'm in. P. P me up.
That's the only answer.
That's a good answer,
right
bro. That was very good.
Thank you. David Hearn Ryder asks, if they made a new Lemmings game, what do you reckon would need to change to make it a success today?
I like when people use the word reckon.
Yeah.
It's very Australian. He must be Australian or something.
That's West Virginian. People say that here all the time,
you hear a lot of Australians use that, reckon. Now, what was the question again? I got distracted.
If they made a new Lemmings game, what do you reckon would need to change to make it a success today?
Well, I know what they'd want to do. No 3D Lemmings. That's out. What would they change? Well, if you're going to modernize Lemmings, I would make Lemmings in like a GTA environment. Think about it for a minute.
Okay.
It would be in 3D, which nullifies what I said earlier. But like and it wouldn't be like a conventional Lemmings, just be like Lemmings 2000. And your job is to just cause havoc. So you're putting ramps in front of people digging holes.
So it'd be like
that'd
Fortnite.
Be fun. No, it's way better than Fortnite because all the other GTA stuff would still be going on. There'd be a guy picking up a hooker or whatever. You go over to him and dig a hole under the hooker as he falls in. Stuff like that.
Okay.
What about you?
I think it would be cool to kind of cross Worms with Lemmings.
Yeah.
And what if you could do this? What if you could do a 24-member match of Lemmings? Okay, you got 24 Lemmings that pop out of the screen. Every player controls one Lemming. And you use the shoulder buttons to switch between the abilities. And your job is to get to the exit first.
I like that. That's not bad. I like the idea of a Worms Lemming crossover too. That's a good idea because the Worms can concentrate on the violence and the Lemmings can concentrate on the building stuff to forts and stuff. That'd be kind of cool too. Yeah. And there's a goal in some levels. Bam, book it. I'm already booking my own games now. I don't know if you heard.
I heard.
This is another one.
That's right. Let's see here. Also from Twitter. Or no, I'm sorry. I skipped. Mr. Chip. He asks, what singular moment is the most memorable for you in your time with classic gaming?
I will say, this is not the answer, but maybe it is. The most excited I think I ever got. There's 2 times I can think of, and both of them involve you being there. That one time in that wrestling game where I'd been out there, remember that 3D wrestling game where I'd picked that one guy, I was just killing that guy, doing all these awesome moves.
That was great.
And the other time was when I landed the plane in that one game, F-117, Death Eagle, whatever it was. I couldn't believe my luck. So those 2 jump out at me right there.
I've got a lot of happy moments, memorable moments. I mean, if you think back, I mean, is he saying? My question to you is: do you think he means like from when we were kids or when we were adults and we're doing classic gaming?
It can mean whatever you want, man. It's your show.
I mean, I still remember coming home with a Nintendo from Circuit City and having the Nintendo on my lap and being like, "This is it."
Oh, I didn't think about that. I was thinking, oh yeah, there were plenty of purchase. I was like, oh man,
right. Because here's the thing,
sitting around a lot of them.
I have. It seems like I almost have more memories, like things that have actually stuck with me about that ride home. Like when you go to the store, you pick it up, and you're sitting there in the car.
Yeah.
You're reading the same little block of text over and over. Be like, yes, I can't wait to get this thing home.
The best part of that is you bought the game, so you know you're going to have it.
Right.
But you haven't played the game, so it hasn't been able to do anything you didn't like or weren't expecting. And so in your mind, all the things you've been dreaming about are about to come to fruition. It's great. It is a great time.
And I've thought about that with a lot of things in life. Like so many times the build-up has been more excitable than the actual product. And it makes me wonder, it's like, why don't I just stop buying all the actual products and just continually build my excitement up for various things, then shift to the next thing?
That should be the next boat challenge. You buy stuff and then never do. And I mean, it's sort of, you've done that already. But usually you at least try it once, or at least look at it. I just buy it,
put it in the closet.
You just buy it. No, and just throw it away.
Just throw it away. Yeah, that's more my style. Yeah, absolutely. Let's see. Mitsuyama asks, if you could erase your memory of one game to be able to play it for the first time again, what game would it be?
Oh man. Wow, that's deep. You go ahead and lead the dance on this.
Two.
One.
I got two. Katamari Damacy.
Yeah,
the first time I played
that.
Oh man, I love that game. And a game we were talking about on the Discord, Earthbound, as a JRPG.
Yeah, I've heard of that.
Crazy awesome. And I didn't play that until I was old. When I was in Korea, it's the only JRPG I ever finished on an emulator. And I just love everything about it. And so I would love to be able to play those games again, because I've never played another game that gave me those feelings. How about you?
Well, I'm going to go way back. I got two as well. I wish I could erase them from my mind the very first time that I came upon a Tron machine. You walk into the arcade and see that. I mean, this is the brand spanking new. Right. Everything's brand new. It's just like, I couldn't freaking believe this thing. It was like it came from space or something. And then the other one that comes to mind instantly, it's the first thing I thought of, actually, and this is another generic answer, but it's true. I distinctly remember the position I was sitting in when the Chud loaded up the very time I ever saw Doom. You know, that game, much maligned over the years, but people know it's important. But I mean, you can't, unless you were alive and you've been playing PC games for years, you can't understand the quantum leap that was in gaming. Was it really that much more advanced than Wolfenstein? Oh, yes, because Wolfenstein looked like Wolfenstein we'd seen that sort of scrolling and that sort of graphical chunkiness. Like Doom was just off the chart. And the thing is, it was also not the cusp, it was just bad A. You're just like, oh my God. Yeah. You just look at it, it's just like, this is rock and roll right here.
Oh yeah, I can see
that one's another one.
Would you believe that I played Duke Nukem before I played Doom?
Yeah, was it the 2D one?
No, the 3D. I just happened to come across
party
it
to the party on Doom. Yeah.
Paul Harrington asks, when you were a kid, what was the scariest thing in the world to you?
Well, I may have mentioned this before. There was a movie that had flying vampires in it. They'd come to your window, and that scared me. I was always afraid of like windows.
Yeah.
You know, nuclear war was in there. We even talked about that once before, because especially when I was younger in the 80s, when the crap was going on over in Iran, and stuff was going on. I mean, it was just it was very. I mean, the funny thing is, you're a little kid, you don't know what Iran is. You don't know if that's right. Is that Russia? They got nukes? Know what's going on? But it was such an upheaval that was real scary. But I mean, that's sort of a generic answer, but it was. You were sort of always thinking about it in the back of your head.
Right.
Torture. That's something else I've always been scared to death about, being tortured. So those are the three things that come to my mind.
Well, when I was a kid, now definitely torture is up there.
Yeah,
that's no good. But when I was a kid, the biggest thing I was afraid of, and this is, I mean, I honestly should have seen a psychologist, because I was constantly afraid that my little brother and little sister were going to get lost.
Oh, yeah.
And I would be, whenever they would go out or something, and my parents, they were not worried about this. But I would just constantly be like, are they okay? You know, and just constantly being worried about that.
You know, ironically, my constant fear, and it's the same to this day, is that the Brent won't get lost. I'm afraid won't. He just always be around. That's my nightmare.
Let's see. David Z says, now that you're getting older, what part of your body hurts the most?
none of me hurts. None of me hurts at all. Every once in a while, I got a habit of sitting in the same spot and editing and stuff for like hours and hours and hours and hours. So when I get up, it'll hurt because I've been sitting there for 1,000 hours. But I feel pretty good. I feel real good actually. I guess nothing right now. But this is a begging for disaster here. But I feel fine.
I'm sort of the same way. I think every once in a while, if I sit in the same place for a long time, my back will sort of be hurting when I get up. But I don't have any chronic pain. Eep, on the other hand, she's starting to break down. Her knees give her trouble. Her back gives her trouble. Of course, she's on her feet, active all day long.
You need to stop having her plow the back 90. Well, the problem.
Yeah, like she was up there crawling around on the roof this morning in the cold.
What were you doing?
I was in bed.
Yeah.
So,
You'll be able to attend to her when she's laid up.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Let's see. Chris Folds asks, "What are you looking forward to most right now? Why?"
Boat Fest. We were just talking about it.
Yeah.
I'm real excited about Boat Fest, man. I'll also say, just coming out of the 2-year-long social coma that we've been in, I want to get out. I want to run the roads with my friends, and I want to take my kid on vacations and stuff. I want to do stuff with him. But I'm absolutely fired up about Boat Fest. I'm really looking forward to it. And as we get closer, we start talking about it today, I got more excited. Yeah,
once again, my answer is the same as yours. I'm just looking forward to being around each other again. Going over to Matt's house on Saturday and doing Brent's new role-playing thing whenever that starts up. I'm looking forward to all that stuff.
Yeah, it's really great.
Yeah.
Just getting it back in the mix.
Back in the mix.
And it's hard to get back in the mix. I've gotten lethargic in terms. I work hard, but I don't. It's editing work and that kind of jive. It's been a long time since I hardly did anything socially, going out, and a lot of people are like that. So I'm looking forward to that. I hope this stuff's behind us.
Yeah. Let's see. Jason Warrens asks, what's the one thing you were most proud of fixing or modding yourself?
I have modded and fixed a lot of stuff over the years. I had a 1084 monitor go out on me, and I searched and searched and searched to try to find the answers to the cause of the problem. And I got in there and diagnosed it, and I thought I had the right thing, and I ordered it, the part I needed, and it worked. And that was pretty gratifying. Really, anytime you fix a TV or a monitor, it makes me happy. I've got a lot of stuff that people tossed, and I'll keep it around forever, even if it's sort of broke. I like that. I like that element of it because I like making do with less. That 1084 is a big deal in terms of modding. I will say most of my mods are ugly, but I do like the power supply mod I did on the Coleco Atom. That thing worked out great. Jettison that printer, and also I watched the video with the original modder, and I improved on this design by quite a bit. So mine's it's a better design. So I'm pretty happy with that one. I'd say that would be in there too.
I've fixed a fair amount, not nearly as many as you have, but electronic stuff. When I fix it, it always makes me feel good. But the thing that I'm most proud of is when I fixed the toilet. When I because here's the thing, when you fix a toilet incorrectly, lots of bad things can happen.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so the fact that I was able to take this thing apart, replace all of the seals, replace the flushing mechanism, replace the handle, do everything inside it, put it all back together, and it worked, and it didn't leak, and sewage didn't fly all over the room. I call that, that's the most proud I've ever been.
Well done. Something. Yeah. When we had that huge pipe breakage a couple weeks ago, that was another one. It's horrible. That stuff, jeez.
Yeah.
And it is gratifying when it works. That's for sure.
You haven't had any more problems, right?
No. It's. The floor in there is not too good.
Wow.
But
you're getting ready to rip all that stuff out anyway.
Have you looked to see what it costs and then waiting period for a guy to do that stuff?
At some point in the future. Let's see. Kit asks,
Kit, we haven't heard from him for a while.
Since you two are country boys, I'm
from New Jersey.
When you have cakes on the griddle, which are they? Hot cakes or pancakes? Does it really even matter?
Well, he's quoting a great song.
Yeah. Well, I know.
Thank God I'm a country.
It's all right.
Thank God I'm a country boy for John Denver. Actually, John Denver sang it. It was written by. It's funny in the live version. He actually has the guy on stage that wrote it playing fiddle. We call them. I don't think I ever call those hot cakes.
The only person that I've ever known that's called it hot cakes is the person that's behind the counter at McDonald's.
Yeah, McDonald's calls them hot cakes. We call them pancakes.
Pancakes.
I do like pancakes. I don't have them that often. Usually, what we have is waffles.
Yeah,
because they're easier to put in the old toaster.
I would rather have waffles. I prefer waffles to pancakes. I'm not a big pancake guy. I mean, don't get me wrong. If somebody puts a big stack of them in front of me with a bunch of syrup and butter, I'm okay. But if I have the choice, I will take waffles any day of the week.
You know what I like is I like pancakes from the old Cracker Barrel. Those are my favorite.
I haven't had those.
Oh, they're
before.
the best.
Really?
They're the best.
But you know, Cracker Barrel in Taze Valley.
There's one in Cross Lanes.
Cross Lanes. Okay.
There is the one in Barbersville as well. You know what's good eating is when you ever stay at a hotel and they've got one of those waffle makers.
Yes.
And you've got all the crud pre-mixed.
And you do the thing, you flip it.
That's good eating. That's for darn sure. That's real good eating.
You know, hotel breakfast. I love, like, I don't know why you ever stay at a hotel that didn't offer free breakfast, because they're always great. You always get it. You
got to get there early though. Yeah, you got to get in there because otherwise you get out and you get like one real green or black banana, like one apple with a chunk out of it. You know, you can't eat it.
Pajako asks, have you ever utterly trashed a joystick or controller, or even a whole system, in a rage quit?
Oh, well, I thought I'm just biting them.
No, I eat my controllers, but I don't trash them.
I am far too cheap. I never get that mad to where I would actually destroy something. I can't imagine ever getting that mad. Now, I've had some heated games with the Brent back in the day where I wanted to keep that thing in. And I'm sure I even threatened to do it, but I would never have done it. And the reason is, that's just no good. Have you ever gotten that? Because you got a little temper on you occasionally. You ever gotten so mad you trash something?
I manage. You know what I do is I take my rage out in my hurtful words.
That's what you do.
Yeah.
Who do you yell at if you get trounced in a game? Who do you? Is the guy beside you? He gets your rage?
Well, no. I take it out on somebody else that I know will be able to take it, and never says anything bad about anybody else.
A weird answer. What a weird answer that was. So you're not the kind of guy that would throw the Atari across the room with a handheld.
But it'll fester. Like, I'll get frustrated, and it'll fester inside my soul, and then I'll see somebody, and I'll be like, "You're ugly."
That's just randomly in the street.
Yeah. And then that's how I get it out.
You just go, "Hey, stupid."
That's right. HSI asks, of all the computers and oddball systems ARG Presents has covered, which was the one you thought outstripped its reputation or your knowledge of it going in, good or bad? So, for example, you thought it was going to be good and turned out to be terrible, or you thought it was going to have nothing but duds and you really ended up enjoying it?
Oh, God. Jeez. And you did a lot of ARGs. Do you have a thought on that?
Well, most of the ARGs I did were console-based, and they weren't as obscure.
Yeah, but we covered a couple of nutty ones, didn't we, when you were on there?
No, you guys really dove into the nutty stuff after I left.
I will say, Brent, on our anniversary show, he picked the what was that stupid thing called? The duck, the handheld system that has duck in it. The stupid, what's the name of that dumb system? It's
the Cyber Duck.
Whatever, Side Duck, whatever name. That system was better than it had any right to be. I will say that one, and it's a piece of crap.
Was that a Russian system?
No, it was just one of these generic, like floating around Europe systems. But I mean, the system itself, from all accounts, the screen is garbage, the controls are garbage. But it did have games that they actually put some thought into. So that one would be on the list. I'll tell you the another one that is at the top of my list is the System 80 from Australia. Man, of course it's playing like this TRC Model 2 and 3 games. Those games were way better than you would think. I mean,
that's what Outhouse, right?
Outhouse was one we played. Convoy, I think, was the other one. They were great. Dick Smith's System 80.
Super.
So that thing was great. And then in some I thought would be better. It's funny. I don't think I've ever played a game. I don't think we've ever done a Super Nintendo game that I liked. That doesn't mean the Super Nintendo's crap. It's just that I don't like the games we've done.
Right. Well, I mean, you've chosen some weird ones like the Aerobiz game. That's kind of a wacky game.
But I mean, I'm talking when we just did look at the system. Like I know Brent picked some. Brent always picks goofy stuff too. So it's not a killing the system, but that's one that comes to mind. It's funny that, and then some of them are a mixed bag, but those are the two that come to my mind instantly. You've listened to the show. I mean, you've played a lot of systems. What systems do you play where the games end up being better than you thought?
Coco.
Yeah. Enough said.
Yeah.
I told you, brother.
Yeah.
I told you.
I was not a believer until I started playing.
Now you can't get enough.
I can't get
We have
enough.
a show.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. David Z asks, what was the worst or saddest computer problem or blow up you ever had?
The worst or saddest? Well, I've got, my CD32 is at sort of the top of that list.
I thought that was a triumph. You fixed it.
Well, it was a triumph, but it has taken some damage, and I don't know if I'll be able to do any. Like a lot of people have those cool peripherals and stuff for me. I don't know if I can ever use any of that stuff. Mine's been really kind of jury rigged up. It works, but I never hardly use it because I just don't want to tempt fate. Mm-hmm. So that one comes to mind. There's a couple times with the old cutter that I kind of wish I hadn't done.
Wow.
A couple of those, It's funny how much time changed. Things changed in quick. Mm-hmm. But in the old days, you could just, I didn't think twice about doing stuff like that. But
right.
now
you take a Dremel and you go to work.
You can't do that no more. Yeah. What about you?
The incident with the OSSC. Rushi sent us two open source scan converters. And I was, and again.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
This was a situation where I was wiring it up. I was getting things ready. I was watching Trump. This was soon after Trump was elected president. He was giving one of his trademark speeches, and I was getting riled up. Yeah, I wasn't paying attention to what I was doing. Right. Yeah. And I plugged in a wrong voltage power.
I remember,
and that was the end of it until you fixed it.
I should have put both your screw ups on my Triumph list. I should put 3 of them on there. The monitor. The ZX Spectrum and the OSSC. I fixed all those.
Yeah. You're the man.
I'm like Little Frank Jr.
Yeah. I think you should get a shirt that says that.
Little Frank Jr. I'm not sure Frank could be wanting that. I could be the Dick Smith of Frank's outfit. It's my face like, bye.
Like on the thumbnail for the magazine rack thing. Yeah.
When you think Aaron, think Dick. That's what I want you to. It could be the peg line on the bottom.
Mr. Harrington, the boss man, writes, what's the quickest you've broken something after buying it?
A boat?
There you go.
I think you just named that. Did you ever use the OSSC one time?
No. But now that it's fixed, if I have an opportunity to, I will. For example, Paul says, he dropped and cracked a coffee table whilst taking it out of the box.
The boss man did that?
Yeah.
Man, that's decidedly unboss-like to do that.
Yeah.
I'm not sure I've ever broken anything instantly. I'm trying to think if I ever have.
I'm sure I have.
Oh, I know. I blew up a motherboard one time. That was the one. Yeah, that was, and it was. I just got it. And I was adding cash to it, but I was drunk, and I had I had a screwdriver because I'd misplugged something, and I was just drunkenly going like this. And I just raked over all the leads. I was just like, "That's done." That was not. No, that wasn't a happy day.
I broke one of the GBS 8220 boards pretty quick after getting it. When we were doing it, this was part of the RGB, Amiga RGB to VGA.
Oh, is that where you dropped? Did you drop power on it or something? What did you do to that?
I think I dropped some Gatorade on it.
Oh. What is it with you with that stuff, Boat? My
God.
God.
So it's open bare circuits, power, electronics.
Yeah.
It's all death. Okay. David Hearnrider asks, did you ever revisit Flashback? He's talking about the game, and get better at it, especially after you tried the Genesis version?
Well, I have revisited it a few times. I have not gotten any better.
I hate all those games. Jordan Mechner, all that crap.
Oh, no, listen.
It's Prince of Persia. Yourself. Prince of Persia is like
Jordan
Trevor
Mechner
Horn.
Didn't do Flashback.
Well, it doesn't matter. He's like Trevor Horn. He made all the video games after Prince of Persia garbage. Because he's the one that introduced rotoscoping. You had to have all the cool. It doesn't matter how crap your game controls, as long as it's got rotoscoped animation.
Hold on a second. Cool. Prince of Persia controls great and is awesome.
No.
It's not Prince of Persia's fault you're no good at it, and it's not Flashback's fault either.
No, listen. Give me Jumpman. That's a good
I
controlling
love
game.
Jumpman, but I mean, there are two different types of games.
Yeah, one's good, one's bad.
How does Jumpman do when he tries to grab hold of a ledge?
He probably
He falls to his death.
He doesn't have good arms.
No. Get that out. By the way, did you see that somebody made Jumpman for the Amiga and this
No.
new Game Jam? Yeah.
Oh man, let me check that out. Buck Owens asks, if you could wipe your memory of the experience of reading a specific book in order to enjoy it again for the first time, what book would that be?
You can go first. You've read a million books.
You know, every time I read a good book, I wish that I could do that.
This sort of goes back to the boat challenge again. Remember, you were worried that the books you thought were your favorites weren't very good.
Right.
You had to read them again.
Right. Yeah, that happens.
The boat challenge had many facets. You know,
You're
you weren't going to
wrong.
buy stuff and things with the books. I've seen all kinds of videos. I go back and look at these. I'm like, what is the boat challenge? You need to write like a manifesto for this thing. Like, what the hell are you talking about?
I mean, I'd say Lord of the Rings. You know, I still listen to Lord of the Rings almost every night in audiobook format.
Yeah. Every night?
Yeah. It
Wow.
literally, because it's just long enough and it's dense enough that you can listen to it all the way through. And when you circle back around on it, you pick up on new stuff.
I hope you're ready for Amazon to take care of that for you.
Oh, yeah. I'm sure they're going to give it the old Star Wars treatment.
No.
So, yeah, I'd say Lord of the Rings. How about you?
That's a good. I would probably along those lines. One of my all-time favorite books back in the day was The Hobbit, and so I was also thinking Neuromancer because it changed my life. Another one, Interview with the Vampire. I know these are generic answers, but
is that a good book? I mean, I've never read it. Anne Rice, the Interview with the Vampire.
It's funny when I used to go to the Putnam Library, the public library, to do schoolwork and stuff. Remember we had to do that.
Right.
You probably don't remember that.
No,
but
I did that.
I kept seeing this book sitting out,
Mm-hmm.
and it was. I mean, every time I went there, I'm like, "What is this?" And it was the Interview with the Vampire. And man, I read that book, and it blew my mind. It was just a different way to look at the whole vampire story.
It seems kind of cool.
It is. It was real good. And Neuromancer was great. I love that. It's one of my all-time favorite books. It's another one that blew my mind because it changed the way you looked at computers and BBSs and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I was just listening to Jack Black today. By the way, I strongly urge you to look up this virtual reality. You don't know Black. Have you heard it yet?
I haven't listened to it yet.
Oh man, it's one of the best ones he ever did.
Really?
And but he mentioned Neuromancer, so that would be there. But I would probably, of all the bunch, I'd probably say The Hobbit because I enjoyed that one so much as a kid. And man, they really crap. I wish you could forget the movies too while we're at it. Yeah,
the worst. Jerry February.
It's a good name.
Writes, have you ever been fired from a job?
It's complicated, right? How about you?
Yes.
You really?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I guess I was fired. I mean, I'll use the easy answer because that's a much more complex that gets a little blue answer. But I worked at the cinemas in Huntington. I worked at the ones across from Keith Albee.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think they're there anymore. And they hazed me on my opening night. They didn't tell me the prices for the cash register, and then they stuck me out there on the night there was a Freddy movie that came out that night, so the place was packed, and they just left me out there with no help.
Oh my gosh!
And they thought I saw them around the corner snickering. That was funny. So I made it real funny for them because I sold everything for $1 for about 2 hours. Mm-hmm. And then I grabbed a box of Whoppers and I went home and never went back. That was it. It was my extent in the film business. So I'm sure I was fired.
I can't believe they would do that. Who ran that place? A bunch of kids?
I don't know. I did learn that they have bags. They have huge bags of popcorn stowed in the upstairs in the theater.
Like unpopped?
Yeah. No, it's popped.
Really?
Yeah, it's popped up there. The Huntington Theater's got that too.
What are they doing with it?
They store it. They serve it later. Oh yeah.
Nasty.
Look it up.
Yeah, I was fired from the job that I worked at before I went back to teaching. I had a disagreement with the new management that rolled in.
Yeah. Did you punch him?
And no.
Did you vote angry him?
No, I was offered a position in another department.
Yeah.
And I said I don't want to do that. And I said I'm not interested in that. And they said, all right, well, HR called and they said this is it. And so yeah, that's the only time I've ever been fired. And
yeah.
I literally thought my life was over.
My thing is, I never try to leave a job on bad terms, ever.
And I didn't leave that job on bad terms. Everybody except for my manager, who was let go a short time later, really thought well of me. So it was bad. You know, That's the thing.
This is a bummer question.
So much about life depends upon the actions of your immediate superior in the job world.
Because sometimes you get a geek.
Yeah,
up in there,
if you've got a boss that's cool, or at least you can get along with them, you can do anything.
Have you ever fired a sucker?
No, I haven't. I've only because now I'm a teacher, so nobody works under me.
I've shown people the door.
Have you?
Yeah. When I worked at IBM,
right?
Yeah.
I bet you had a lot of losers come through those.
Also,
doors.
when I was at the computer store, I showed a couple suckers the door too.
Yeah,
they're no good.
Yeah. One day you'll fire me, and that'll be that.
It's coming. Better get the boat fest this year, pal.
Yeah. Paul Bossman asks, "What was the most recent thing you did for the very first time?" He says, "I tried cod roe for the first time," and then he has vomit emoji. It doesn't have to be food related.
I don't know what cod roe is.
Cod roe, so cod's a fish and roe is the eggs. So cod eggs.
Oh man, holy gee, that sounds hideous. Gosh, I don't know if I've done much here recently for the first time because I haven't done that much because of the deal going down, the pandemic thing going down. You got an answer to that?
I'll tell you what I want to get into because I can't think of an answer.
Okay, so you're changing the question. Okay.
I want to get into book binding.
I've bound books before.
Doesn't that seem like something that I could really get my teeth into?
It's not that tough. You get the old vise.
Uh-huh.
You get some adhesive, some book adhesive, spread it on there. Mm-hmm. Take the gimmick, put it over the book.
When did you do this?
I worked at the track in the print shop, so I learned some printing.
That's awesome.
It's not that good.
Really?
No. Everyone says, "Oh, book binding." That's the kind of thing that some kind of studious dork would say. Mm-hmm. Why does that sound fun? Spread glue on paper? Are you sick?
But I mean, it's like you put the leather cover on there and you emboss it with the chisel. No. It sounds. Well, you know what that is? That's something. If it's something that people get paid to do, that's not a hobby. That's true.
That's you giving away your services like an idiot.
That's true. So you got nothing on what you tried recently?
Here's what I'm trying for the first time right now. In fact, I started trying it today. I'm trying to organize a structured con. That's what we're doing.
Okay.
And you are too.
Oh.
Have you ever done that before?
No.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah, there we go.
That's something else I'm trying today.
I can't wait
to come up with luxurious answers when I've got nothing. That's my other new thing.
I can't wait to hear your answer to this question.
Oh,
Aaron.
man.
What's the most extreme sport or activity you've ever done?
Well, I did full contact karate. That was pretty extreme. It hurt too. So I'd say that would be up the top. I can't. Listen, am I going to skateboard or snow? I'm not going to do that. What am I going to do?
Even when you were a kid, you never skateboarded down your street?
Non-skater, just like Mark. I wasn't a skater. Bike. I did a crazy bike stuff. Bike jumps. Try to do flips on bikes. Mm-hmm. But I mean,
sick ramps.
No, weren't that sick. But they were. It seemed sick when you go that far off the ground and land on your kahuna.
Yeah, well, it's painful.
That's no good. Yeah. It was extremely not fun. What about you? I mean, you don't strike me as the extremist.
Well, I've done a lot of the same things that you have. I've done the karate. I've done the getting punched in the face, kicked in the face. I kicked a guy in the face.
You're still sort of doing that, right?
Well, I've stopped everything but Iaido. I was having physical issues.
What about bear baiting?
Bear baiting?
You ever thought about doing that?
Well,
is that a real thing?
That's not really a sport. You just get a bear really angry.
That seems like a sport, bear baiting. I mean, I love saying that word, but is that real?
Yeah.
People bait bears?
Well, not anymore, but in the
like
Victorian
they go,
era. Yeah, so what you do, you attach a bear to a light post, and then you anger it, and then everybody laughs.
That's not exactly the way I envisioned bear. That's not how I thought it worked. I thought you went out in the woods, you found a big bear, okay, that's sitting there, right, eating honey, right? And then you
jar over its face.
You get a pointy stick or maybe one of those like a white gloves, and you just go up and you just kind of whack it until it gets pissed off, and then you go, "Come on, bear! Come on, bear!" And then when the bear comes to maul you, you run off. And then when the bear gets tired, you go, "Come on!" And you keep doing that and see how far you can lure him before you get murdered.
Maybe this could be a new extreme sport.
I really did think that's what it's not.
It's going to prepare on
the light post. You made that up, didn't you?
No, that's totally a shoot.
How do you get a bear to go to anywhere near a light post?
Yeah, so you have that's what bear baiting is.
That's a real thing.
That's a real thing.
Who did that and when?
Everybody in Victorian England, and the Queen loved it.
What were they? How bored were they?
They were all about the animal cruelty in the.
Thank God somebody invented TV.
Yeah,
my God.
Yeah, that's what stopped bear baiting was the invention of the television.
My version is less violent toward the bear. It's more violent toward the person.
It's true because he gets mauled.
Yeah. They deserve it.
In a similar vein, Chris Folds writes, "What is the highest height you've ever jumped from into water?" And he says, "Mine was 25 feet in Mexico. It was wild."
Wow.
Mine was at the FMC Hunting and Fishing Club.
The high dive.
I've
jumped off that.
Yeah, that's scary.
I will say, if I was to jump off something into the water in Mexico, it would have went too good because it was the Rio Grande, and it was that thing was you could have walked across that. The highest thing I ever jumped off of into water. Okay, at the old pool that they had in St. Aug, I guess it'd be Dumb. What is that right there? Near the hospital, the old Rock Lake pool.
Mm-hmm.
They had a swing you could swing off.
I can't believe that you were living when that was
I
still
was.
in existence.
I was. And so I did go off that, and it was.
When did that close down?
Well, the pool part closed down. It was probably 86.
Okay,
something like that.
Yeah, I mean it was long gone by the time I was of swimming age.
See, since there's no bears left in England, they must have baited them all to death. Bears don't put up with that. By the way, England, you wouldn't have tried that with the bears we got. That would have gone. These bears are not. I don't know what they got over there, but I guess they don't have the big bears.
They never explain how they attach the bear.
Because most of the bears are probably like yay big. Mm-hmm. Like we got bears here they'll take that light post and bend it over their knee and break it in half. They'll rip your lungs out, Jim. And the ones out west, oh man, you don't want to screw with those either.
Pajako6502 asks, in a Bill and Ted style, you need to beat the Grim Reaper at a game to escape the afterlife.
Yeah.
What game is it? It can be a board game or video game.
So I've got to beat the bear.
No, the Grim Reaper.
Oh, I've got bears on the mind. Get a bear be involved somehow. Probably, if I had to beat someone in a game that I had to win or I was going to die, like a high score challenge, Matt Mania. Because I can play indefinitely. Screw you, Death. I'm going to live forever.
You know what I would do? I would do the old Princess Bride game. Where you have the cup of poison and the cup that's not poison.
Do you think you're as clever as that guy?
Oh,
he was Sicilian. What do you got?
Well, no, you're going against the Grim Reaper. How smart could he be?
Yeah, but he can drink all the poison he wants. Have you thought about that?
I didn't think about that.
He's a dead man.
I might have to rethink that answer.
Also, you realize that he poisoned both the cups in that.
That's true.
And he's built up an immunity to poison. Have you done that?
No.
This sucks.
You might be onto something.
Listen, you challenge him to a bear baiting contest is what you do.
Christian Russell asks, Elvis or the Beatles?
Oh. Now, see, that's low. That's dirty pool. I'm going to go with the Beatles, but I feel like a schmuck saying that.
There's no question to me. The Beatles are better than Elvis. Without Elvis, there couldn't have been the Beatles. You got that.
Well, that's irrelevant.
But the majority of the King's recorded output is schlock.
What? No, now.
Yeah, all the stuff that he did after he started making movies is unlistenable.
Right, but he's got way more songs than the Beatles. What do you say?
No, well, okay.
He's got all those gospel albums.
Well, yeah,
and stuff.
But those are not what I call high quality recordings.
Well, you're not in the gospel.
The best Elvis stuff is like 57 to 60.
Everyone always said that he was like one of the top tier gospel singers of the day.
He's got a beautiful voice.
And also Elvis has the ambiance.
Well, when it comes to style and grace. Nobody
Elvis.
could rock a jumpsuit like Elvis.
No, I would love to. I repeat, I would love to have one of those sequin jumpsuits.
Yeah.
And I know you would too.
Style points,
and the
Elvis
cape,
wins every time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the Beatles, they're the Beatles.
Yeah. David Hearn Ryder asks, what game did you know wasn't very good, but you kept coming back to it anyway?
God.
Most games I like, I fully admit, are not the best games in the world. I come back to them for nostalgic reasons.
Well, like a lot of people hate Dragon Slayer, and I bet a week hasn't gone by where I haven't fired that up. So I would say that would be up there, you know. But some people don't even consider it a game like the Brent. But if you listen to him, what can you do?
For me, Paperboy on the Nintendo.
Oh, on the Nintendo. Yeah.
Like it's not a great port, but it's the one that I go back to the most often.
Paperboy, great game. Though.
It is a great game.
Love that one.
And our last question, Aaron, a food-related question from David Z.
I was waiting for one.
Which fast food place has the best fries? National chains only, not regional.
This is easy.
McDonald's.
Rallies.
Really?
Rallies has the best fries. Or Checkers, depending on where you're at.
It's all the same.
Yeah.
You really think?
Oh,
I was
man.
not really.
Yeah, absolutely. There's not even. There is no number 2
To
here.
me, nothing can beat.
Have you eaten many Rallies?
Yes.
Oh, man,
Yeah.
I love those.
Nothing can beat hot,
Ooh,
fresh McDonald's fries. Now, McDonald's fries decay in taste more exponentially than any other fries. Like, if you get McDonald's fries and they're not hot and fresh, they're garbage.
I'm going to give you a tidbit here. I'm going to give you a hint.
Okay.
What you do is you go get you some of these Rallies fries.
Okay.
And they've got this, I'll tell you where else you can get them is also at, what's the place that has the cheap milkshake, Steak and Shake.
Mhm.
They have the same kind of fries.
Mm-hmm.
They've got this powder that you can get there. It's kind of like this spiced powder.
Like Cajun powder?
Yeah, and you pour that on the fries. The fries don't need anything, but with that, you're done.
Yeah.
I like McDonald's fries, don't get me wrong, but those Rallies fries, they're in their own league. No one makes them like that except for one
What do you
place.
think about Rallies in general?
I like Rallies. It's good. Cheap, good.
It's cheap. It's almost disturbingly cheap.
Yeah, well,
how
it's not
cheap their
that
stuff
cheap.
is.
I don't know. It's gotten more expensive. I don't get to go to Rallies at all.
Yeah, I mean, the only one there is in Nitro there.
Yeah.
And
Oh no, there's one out in Greenup, but you don't get.
I don't go that way.
You should. It's right. It's literally there's a hillbilly flea market. It's a shoot, and then the next they share a parking lot with the rally.
That sounds like a boat fest excursion right there.
Oh man, you ain't kidding, brother.
And that's going to do it for this edition of Ask the Amigos. As always, if you're a member of our Discord community, which you can join by becoming a patron of any of the shows on the network, you can ask us a question and we will answer it. So from all of us to all of you, we will see you next month for another round of Ask the Amigos. Until then,
Adios.